You know that specific kind of exhaustion, the kind that doesn't actually come from physical labor or, say, a long flight.
Right, it's that 2 a.m. exhaustion.
Exactly. The house is completely quiet, but your mind is just running a 10-step scenario analysis on a board meeting from Tuesday.
Or you're agonizing over a strategic pivot that's, still 3/4 away.
Yeah. And if you're an elite professional, likely over 40, leading teams, building a legacy, you've probably stared at the ceiling and thought, I mean, if I'm so smart, why can't I just turn my brain off?
Well, to figure that out, we are pulling from a really fascinating stack of sources for today's deep dive.
Yeah, we've got cognitive psychology papers on executive functions, some modern leadership case studies, and even ancient Stoic texts.
And the first thing the clinical research points out is honestly deeply empathetic.
How so?
Well, that relentless overthinking that's keeping you up, it isn't a character flaw.
Yeah.
It is a direct side effect of your ambition. I mean, your brain is literally trained to win.
So it's like you've spent decades conditioning your mind to anticipate risk and outmaneuver competitors.
Exactly. You've built this high-performance V12 engine in your mind.
Right, but somewhere along the way, the brake lines were cut. So you're just redlining in neutral and burning all this fuel just sitting in the driveway.
That is a great way to put it. And that exhaustion, it's entirely biological.
The success trap, right? That's what the psychology papers call it.
Yes, the success trap. It's basically an escalating dopamine loop.
Meaning you achieve a massive goal and you get a neurochemical reward.
Right, but over time, those dopamine receptors downregulate. Your baseline shifts.
Wow, so hitting the same targets no longer produces the same satisfaction.
Exactly, making contentment biologically impossible without constantly raising the stakes.
It's like a thermostat that breaks because the room got too comfortable. You keep turning up the heat just to feel something, but the AC never kicks in to regulate it.
And the most dangerous part of this is that, unlike a substance addiction, a success addiction is completely camouflaged.
Because society literally hands you awards for it. I mean, the board applauds you. No one tells you to slow down until you crash.
And the crash becomes inevitable, right, because of the compounding pressure you take on.
Which, okay, that makes sense biologically, but logically, it's a paradox to me.
How do you mean?
Well, if these leaders are corporate geniuses who delegate billion-dollar tasks every single day, why can't they just delegate their own mental load? Like, why do they shoulder all that 2 a.m. anxiety themselves?
That comes down to what the sources call the isolation factor.
The isolation factor.
Yeah. When you spend 20 years being the person everyone else turns to for the solution, having the answer becomes your core identity.
Oh, wow. So admitting you need support feels like a visceral threat to that identity.
Precisely. So you end up profoundly isolated. Your peers and your own teams hesitate to question your workload because, well, you project an aura of absolute control.
Right. And because you are isolated and society is actively cheering on your workaholism, you really can't rely on external forces to hit the brakes for you.
You have to manufacture an internal off switch.
And that's where the ancient Stoic texts come into play in this deep dive.
Yes. To break this exhausting cycle without losing your competitive edge, you need the Stoic framework of the dichotomy of control.
Which is a system for proactive resilience.
Exactly. It's not just some abstract philosophical concept. It's a highly practical method of ruthlessly categorizing your stress.
But how does someone actually do that neurologically? I mean, when the market is tanking, you can't just tell your brain, hey, don't worry about it.
No, you don't tell it not to worry. You redirect the cognitive load.
Okay, redirect it how?
Well, the Stoics recognize that an external event, say, a sudden tech disruption, is inherently neutral.
Right, it's your internal narrative that assigns it a threat level.
Exactly. So you release your grip on the panic by actively writing down what is entirely within your control, and then you mentally fence off everything that isn't.
And the leadership case studies show top CEOs doing exactly this, like Michael Dell of Dell Technologies.
Yes, perfect example.
During these massive, unpredictable supply chain disruptions, he doesn't waste cognitive energy agonizing over global chip shortages or, fluctuating stock prices.
Right. He actively limits his focus to his immediate sphere of influence.
Rerouting specific logistics, adjusting internal production timelines. He literally forces his brain out of an emotional threat response and into logical execution.
He governs his mind. And that is what protects a leader's cognitive capacity.
So by strictly separating what you can influence from the noise of the uncontrollable, you stop the engine from redlining.
Yes, it takes immense discipline, but it's the only reliable way to cool the engine down.
Protecting your cognitive capacity through this kind of stoic focus really is the ultimate tool.
It's how you find inner peace and sustain elite performance over the long haul.
You have to recognize the biology of the success trap, acknowledge that you are isolating yourself, and rigorously practice that dichotomy of control.
Absolutely, it's essential.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, there's one final, slightly uncomfortable question from the research to mull over tonight.
A provocative one, yes.
Since your success trap and your relentless drive are so heavily rewarded by everyone around you, you have to ask yourself, who is actually benefiting more from your overthinking? Is it you, or is it the organizations you serve?